For this resin ocean art tutorial, I begin by mixing clear resin and pouring it over a board that's been spray painted black. I used art resin. You can see the little bottle in the corner there. I use it because it doesn't have any VOCs and it's really good for non-yellowing. And I'll pop those bubbles with a blowtorch. And now I can place down some rocks that I've collected. I'm going for a darker shade, obviously. I'm going for a black look, and I will also place down some amethyst crystals. The amethyst crystals will go perfectly with my purple colour that I'll apply shortly. Now that's just silver metallic paint, acrylic paint, that I'm just dabbing along or scraping along those rocks. I want to bring them to life. They're looking dull, so let's give it some shimmer and make them look more watery and just elevate them. This is the easy part because there's nothing flowing. It all just sticks where I want it to stay. So I like this. It's kind of relaxing. Now the brush will just cover it a bit more and get into some of those grooves. Now that it's tacky, I'm going to apply some of this silver leaf. The trick is to apply the silver leaf once the paint is starting to tack up. It's not really wet. It's not dry. It's tacky. And that's all you need to stick it down and press it down quite firmly to make sure there's no little flaky bits coming off. Now I could have done this bit later when the painting was finished, but I'm using the time management very carefully. My white is sitting in the cup thickening up because I'm about to pour a white wave. Here it is, Angel White by Le Rez Expressions, mixed into some art resin. It has been sitting there, so it's thickening up. Otherwise, if it's too runny, it's just going to blend into that clear resin and you're not going to get any cells out of it because they would just disappear. Now my heat gun's on a high setting because I need to blow it all the way to the edge. As you can see, I've poured heaps of white because I want the white to extend to the very end. I want it to be covered because in a moment I will be placing down purple colour. But before I do that, I've got to let it dry overnight, and I'm going to do some finishing touches here with the white that I've got left over. Just filling up some of those holes to extend that white down. This is an easy bit too. It's like at the end of it where you can kind of just relax into it. And those cells will continue to form. At the moment there's not that many of them because it just needs a little bit of time to activate, particularly because I've got so much white on. Now I love to use kitchen scales to mix my art resin. That way I'm getting that equal amounts. You've got to mix an equal amount of hardener and resin, and then stir it for about 3 to 5 minutes. Because it's summer, I can get away with 3 to 5 minutes. In winter, I tend to have to mix it up to 10 minutes. Now the purple I'm using is by Le Rez Expressions and it's called Galaxy Purple. It's the first time I'm using it and it looks stunning. It is so beautiful. It's going to really look amazing on this white backdrop. And you can see that I've applied that clear line pretty high up. That's because I know it's going to drop down. It's going to run the longer it sits there and expands out. Now I'm popping some bubbles, and here's some metallic silver, some silver metal powder I should say, that I just sprinkle on by touching my toothpick, and then the heat gun will create some lacing with that silver. Now I'm going to cover up this piece just with a cardboard box while I'm waiting for my white to thicken up. Now it's been about 10 to 15 minutes. My white is good to go, so I can pour that down and use my heat gun on that high setting again to blow the wave out. The first time I used too much white possibly, and the second time not enough, so I've just poured another carefully. You can carefully just pour over the existing white. Just be very careful with doing that. Now that blowtorch works fantastic for popping bubbles and bringing out the lacing, because the heat is what activates that lacing. And you can just do little touch-up bits like this afterwards, but just be careful, make sure it's blending in together and you don't have little holes in the white. I don't like it when that happens. I like to make sure my white is completely filled in. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. I really enjoyed making this piece. It was my first black piece, so very excited. And if you do have any questions, please drop them in the comments. I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Michelle Tracey.